Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. What do we got going on? Well, we got the stock market, right? We had that sell off on Friday. Now, the Dow Jones Industrials, that made a double top, right? Right at 45,000. It made a double top, came down, went up, made the double top, coming back down now. IWM, that's the small caps. The small caps, they're really struggling, right? They've seen the top. The top goes back to November for the small caps, and that's already started in the bear market. Now, we've done a lot of damage to the NASDAQ and S&P, but they're still above the 50-day moving average. We'll see if they can push them up one more time. It's possible. We got a big week this week, right? We got NVIDIA earnings coming out. And NVIDIA has not made the new top, right? It came down and came back up to a lower high, came down, came back up to a lower high. I don't think they can push it up to a new high. If they can, then we can get a new high on the NASDAQ and a new high in the S&P. We'll see if that plays out. I do think the S&P, they're going to try to push that up one more time. 6,400 is where I keep thinking it's going to get to. We'll see if it gets there. But after that, I do think there's going to be a massive pullback. Massive pullback. That's what I call them for in the stock market. Moon boys think it's going to double from here. All right, today I want to talk about, retirement crisis. We're in a crisis mode. And this isn't just for old people. This is for you young whippersnappers also. So you can avoid the mistakes that a lot of people have made in the retirement situation. Now, as we go into retirement, look, I'm at the retirement age, right? I'm on Medicare. I'm going to be getting Social Security whenever I decide to take it. I could be getting it already. But there's a crisis out there. Now, the crisis is that people that are getting Social Security, 80% of the people that get Social Security have less than 100,000 net worth if you take away their house, right? Okay, maybe they own a house. Maybe they're making a payment still on the house. A lot of the loans are not even paid off, even though they're trying to retire, right? So 80% of the people are going to be in big trouble. I'm going to explain why here. Now, if you're in that top 10%, you probably got a lot of money. You're probably retiring in style, right? But most people are not going to retire in style because they're depending on Social Security. They're depending on it to make their property taxes. They're depending on it to pay their grocery bill, to pay their utility bills. And right now, maybe they're getting a good amount in Social Security. Maybe they're getting 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It depends how much you paid in, what age you took it at, right? As to how much is going to be paid out. So let's just use the number $3,000. Now, right now, that $3,000, that's paying your property tax. You get $3,000 a month, paying your grocery bills, paying for everything, right? So you got $80,000 saved up in a nest egg, and you're getting $3,000. But you see, over time, that $3,000 is going to lose its purchasing power. I guarantee it's going to lose its purchasing power. And I think in the next 10 years, that $3,000 in purchasing power today will be $300. And $300 is not going to be enough for you. You're going to be having to move out of your house or sell your house or move on from that situation, right? Because you won't be able to pay your property tax, and you'll have to make a decision. Do I want to eat or do I want to live indoors? And that's a sad situation for an older person to be making. But the problem is that the retirement crisis is hitting us, and it's hitting us hard. Now, what's happening when I say there's a crisis? We're retiring later and later and later. It's not by choice. We're retiring later and later in life, right? And the people that are coming up now, they'll probably have to work until the day they die. They're not going to be able to retire because the system is not set up for that. And we're going to talk about how to change that into your favor. But a lot of people are not going to be able to retire. And the ones that are retired, they're going to have to go back to work. A lot of my friends have already gone back to work, but they can't get a job. What do? They start driving Uber, right? They start delivering food. They start doing things that old people can do and still get paid for it. It pays less than minimum wage. A person I know, he drives for Uber Eats, makes less than minimum wage, but he has to do it because he can't survive without it. He can't eat without it. But the thing is, we're retiring later and later and later in life. Now, if you go back to the year 2000, the age between 60 and 64, you had 42% of people were retired. 42% between the age of 60 and 64 were retired. That's back in the year 2000. What is it today? Well, today it's down to 20%. 20% is all that's retired. Age 60 to 64, 80% are still having to work because they need the money. So it's cut in half from 42% in the year 2000 down to only 20% of the people can retire between the ages 60 and 64. Now, a lot of people retired earlier back in the year 2000. Now, the age 55 to 59 in the year 2000, 32% of people were already retired. Now, in the age 55 to 59 today, only 11% of people are retired. In other words, it's taking longer and longer and longer to get retired. Now, if you're a young person, you're probably going to have to work your whole life long before you're able to retire. Now, don't get me wrong, retirement is not all it's cracked up to be. I retired the first time at age 28. I hated it. All my friends were working. I had enough money that I could retire. I was a real estate investor and made a lot of money, right? But I lost that fortune and I had to go back to work. 28 is way too young to retire to nothing. But the thing is, when you retire, and I'm never going to retire. Look, I'm 65 right now and I'm not going to retire for another 15, 20 years. I'm just not going to do it. When you retire from working to nothing, it's boring. You don't have any zest for living. You're zest for life. Now, don't get me wrong. I only do what I want to do, and I've been that way for many, many years already, where I only work if I want to work. For example, doing these YouTube things, they're great, right? A lot of people think that I sell fear porn on here to make a lot of money so that I can support myself in my retirement years. First of all, I don't sell fear porn. I give you the reality, and a lot of people cannot handle the truth. They don't want to know about reality, so they say that tall Mike just peddles fear porn. Look, I'm just giving you the facts. I'm just giving you what's going on in reality terms. Now, you can put your head in the sand and pretend like everything's okay, but we're in a crisis right now. We're in a banking crisis. We're in a pension crisis. Your pension does not have your money, right? You think your pension's safe and secure. You're going to be lucky if you get 20% of it when this thing falls apart. And we are getting closer to where it's going to fall apart. I don't think we have 3 years left. We may not have 3 months left before it completely unravels. We're in a crisis right now. The banking system is not solid, is not sound. It does not have your money. They've lost your money. The pensions are underfunded. They do not have your money. Insurance companies, they can't afford to pay out the claims. A lot of them are leaving California, leaving Florida, leaving Texas. They're just leaving because they don't have money to pay the claims anymore, even though they've doubled and tripled the rate that you're paying for insurance. It is a big problem. We live in a crisis situation in America. 63% of people live paycheck to paycheck, and that's why they're never going to be able to retire. Now, here's the thing. Now, the reason most people at my age cannot retire is because they invested poorly, right? They invested poorly. Now, we've had a very good run as baby boomers. We've overspent. We've lived above our means, and that's because of the printing of money, right? So you just keep printing the money that we don't have, and we put this country $37 trillion in debt. We did it. We got the benefit from it. You kids, you get the problem. You get to figure out how to get out of the mess. But the thing is, we were outspending our money, right? We were spending more than we were bringing in, and that was from a government standpoint, but that was also from an individual standpoint. But here's the thing. If you could start today, which you young people can, when you save your money, don't save it in the fiat system. You save it in silver. Silver's real money. It's the best bargain on the planet right now, running about $33 an ounce. That's real money. When you get money, you put 10% of your paycheck, you put that into silver and you stick it away. That is going to come in really handy. You do that for the rest until you're retired. You're going to retire like a king, and you'll probably be able to retire way early. But if you keep the money in the fiat system, you keep the money in the stock market, you keep the money in their system, you're not going to be able to to make it. When you're young, you're capable of working and you work for money and you try to make as much as you can, right? I mean, that's the goal of the game, right? That's capitalism. Get out there and make as much as you can, get promoted, change jobs, get a better job, bring in the money, right? But how you save is what makes your retirement a great retirement or a retirement that's really struggling. Now, I've been saving in gold and silver for many years, and that's why I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. If I was in the fiat system, I'm not sure I'd be okay. I'd be depending on that Social Security. And that Social Security is in big trouble, right? It is a Ponzi scheme. They've spent all the money. I mean, we talk about how does Fort Knox have the gold? I say it doesn't, but here's the thing we do know, that the Social Security system definitely does not have the money to pay you. Now, I do think you're going to get paid because they're going to print the money. And that's why you're going to see that $3,000 paycheck that you get every month have $300 in purchasing power. And that's probably going to happen in less than 10 years. So if you're planning to live longer than 10 years, I suggest you make other arrangements. And that would be maybe put some into real money, maybe put some into the silver market. But the thing is, people have not saved for their retirement. Okay, the average median savings of people over the age of 55 is $5,000. $5,000. That's the median. Now, this is kind of funny. You see, they inflate this number. The average savings of someone over 55, they say, is $100,000. But the average is not really an accurate thing because there's people like Bezos, people like, Elon, people that have billions and billions of dollars. Buffett, they got billions of dollars, so it skews it up. So it's somewhere between 5,000 and 100,000. It's not more than that. They say the average is 100,000, but I bet the average is closer to $25,000 saved. A lot of people are depending on Social Security. I was just talking to a buddy the other day, and he's got to move out of the area. He's got to sell his house, and they're going to buy a cheaper house in Colorado. Well, I live in the Bay Area. Bay Area is expensive, so he can sell his house, move to Colorado. Then he'll have a nest egg because he's saved nothing, right? Now he's depending on the Social Security payment to help support him in his old age. And I'm telling him that's just not going to be a wise move to count on Social Security. Social Security, yes, I do believe you're going to get your check. I do not believe the check's even going to be able to buy you a cup of coffee in the next 10 years. And that's a really sad thing. You see, it's an inflation problem, right? Inflation. Now, what is inflation? It's just a tax. They're taxing your money. They're openly admitting that they want to tax it at 2%, but they're really taxing you about 8 to 10% right now. They say it's 3%, but even by their own numbers, they're taxing you at 6% because inflation is going up 0.5% a month. You do the math. This is their numbers, right? Multiply that out by 12 and you got 6%. So they're stealing the money from you. They tax you in income tax, but then they got this other tax called inflation tax, a tax where they tax everything. They tax your savings. If you got money in savings, they tax that. That's why you don't want to be in that fiat system. Keep your savings in real money. Keep it in gold and silver. Much less easy for them to get at. Much less easy for them to take it from you, right? A lot of people think gold's going to be confiscated. I don't think so. Not from individuals. From funds, yes, I believe it will be. Like the GLD, it's all in one place. You got gold in your retirement account, I think it will be taken from you. Yes, I believe that. But I don't think they're going to go door to door knocking on the door to take your gold away from you. Why? Because one out of every 200 people, I mean, that's all that has even 1 ounce of gold. So they'd have to knock on 200 doors just to find somebody with 1 ounce. So I'm not real worried about the confiscation. After all, mine was lost in that boating accident. I can't give it to them. So that's just my take, right? Okay, so that's what happened to my gold. I don't know what happened to your gold. I'm joking there. But anyways, what I'm saying is keep it in real money. Then you won't have a problem with that inflation tax. Inflation is theft. It's theft by the federal government, right? They're the ones that create inflation. A lot of people are confused what inflation is. They think that's the increase in prices. No, inflation is the word expansion. Inflation, they're expansion. They're expanding the money supply. Inflation is the printing of money. You can Call it whatever you want. But when you printed money and the money supply expands, that is the definition of inflation. The side effect to that is, yes, prices are going to go up. Side effect is, yes, that keeps your house up here in nominal terms. Side effect is, yes, they can push the stock market up higher one more time. But inflation, expansion of the money, only caused by the government, not caused by the grocery store guy, not caused by the gas station guy. They don't have anything to do with it. Everybody thinks inflation is greed. No, the greed is the government because they keep expanding the money supply by printing money. Now, this is just the definition of inflation. You look in the dictionary, you got to get an old dictionary to find that. The modern dictionary says it's increasing in price because the government doesn't want to take the blame for inflation. They don't want to take the blame for stealing your money, right? But here's the thing for you young people. Yes, go out, work hard. Don't retire early. Look, I'm technically retired, but I still do this because I love it. I still sell a house now and then because I love working with people. I love helping people out. If I get a bad client, I tell them to go away. I don't want to work with you. I'm too old to have a bad client. I only want to work with nice people. That's just my take, but I keep working. And when I get a paycheck, when I get a commission check, what do? I put that into real money. You know what's funny? I mean, I sold a lot of houses last year and I put that into real money. And now that the tax bills come due, that real money has grown. So if I need to pay my tax bill, I can just off a little bit but I have enough on dry powder so I don't have to do that. But I could do that. I could have put my money into real money. Real money goes up and then I'd have the 40%, which is what gold went up last year, to pay my tax bill. As the government, they come and they take that 40% away from you. And on top of that 40% they take another 8 or 10% of the everything tax, which was inflation. I mean, we're really getting hit from all sides here. Anyways, I've got a little winded today. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up, punch that subscribe button. Get out there, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.